What if Voldemort never died? Hey, brother! Got real long hey, brother energy today. Here's the thing. Dumbledore is trying really hard for Harry to not have to kill anyone. Heck, even his entire arrangement with Snape in Half-Blood Prince is so that Draco doesn't have to kill anyone. And the major basis behind this position is that it seems in the wizarding world, the act of taking another's life is the essential cog in creating the supremely dark object, a Horcrux, which of course, as we all know, contains a piece of one's soul. Slughorn actually gives us a rather succinct explanation as to how one may achieve this. You must understand that the soul is supposed to remain intact and whole. Splitting it is an act of violation. It is against nature. But how do you do it? By an act of evil, the supreme act of evil, by committing murder. Killing rips the soul apart. And thematically, this is the major through line throughout the series. Dumbledore is pretty much working tirelessly from the moment Harry steps into Hogwarts to find a way, any way, for Harry to somehow avoid two all but certain outcomes per the prophecy. Either must die at the hand of the other, for neither can live while the other survives. Basically, Harry will eventually either have to die or kill, which, if you're keeping score, sucks. And there are a whole myriad of bizarre, unique, or ancient pieces of magic that all seem to find their way into this equation and makes the water awfully murky at times. We of course have Lily's sacrificial protection stopping Voldemort from harming or even touching Harry. Voldemort has Horcruxes that prevent him from dying. The Bond of Blood charm prevents Harry from being attacked at the Dursleys. And eventually, Voldemort takes Harry's own blood and therefore Lily's sacrifice into his own person. Then we've also got the Twin Cores, which invoke Priori Incantatem, the prophecy itself, Harry's intention to die, and the Deathly Hallows, which include the Elder Wand, which can form its own allegiances, and whew, you get it. Point is, it's a lot. A lot of moving parts are happening and unfolding throughout the entire saga, but they all lead up to the final showdown, where right up until the last moment, Harry is even actively pleading with Voldemort to stand down. It's your one last chance, said Harry. It's all you've got left. I've seen what you'll be otherwise. Be a man. Try for some remorse. Voldemort, of course, will do no such thing. Wands come out, spells are cast. And at this point, all of Dumbledore's work is proven successful when Harry does not go for the kill, but instead aims to disarm. Voldemort's own spell, however, Avada Kedavra, backfires because the Elder Wand is unwilling to attack its true master, and Voldemort is, of course, done. This is the critical moment for today's question. Harry's intention isn't to kill Voldemort. That's Voldemort's own doing. But what if Harry's spell was the only one to win out? What if Voldemort survived? Hey, brother! Okay, so first of all, how could this even happen? Could Voldemort have survived? Well, it is possible. Normally, the Elder Wand just backfires Avada Kedavra, unwilling to attack its true master. But what if instead of backfiring, it just doesn't fire at all? Harry's Expelliarmus hits true, the Elder Wand goes flying, Harry catches it, and Voldemort stumbles backwards, defeated, but still alive. Now what? Now he's wandless and surrounded on all sides by foes and has literally no conscious Death Eaters to assist him in any way at all. Would they just kill him on the spot? Well, as much as they probably should, and he certainly deserves it, and I do love a world where like Molly just steps forward again and says, "Not my son, you." I love the idea of Molly Weasley calling Voldemort a But what I love even more is Molly Weasley calling Harry son. Chills. But I do doubt that this is the course of action that they take. After all, Harry has just come back from the dead and given like a huge speech about the importance of remorse and had an evening full of learning about the power of a full and pure soul, and I don't think he'd want anyone to go ripping their soul on his account. More likely, he is just captured, incapacitated, restrained, and locked up to the very best of anyone's ability. And while I know that might sound crazy to, like, leave him alive, don't forget that this is exactly the fate that the last darkest wizard, Grindelwald, did in fact meet. Actually, if anything, he was locked up in his own house for the rest of his life. I mean, he just had a regime to, take over the entire world. Sure, house arrest. Though, to be fair, while it's a far cry from house arrest, I personally never mind a good staycation, especially with today's sponsor, MeUndies. Let me just say that I love summer and warmth and being outside, but lately it has been hot. And whether inside in front of the air conditioning or out enjoying the heat wave, there has never been a better time for breathable, quick-dry, moisture-wicking, and anti-odor under bridges. And I'm just gonna say, this is big for me because, and I'm not sure if it's just her recent discovery of popsicles or simply the game Chase Me, but my 2-year-old Addie seems to be having a general immunity to the heat. I, on the other hand, do not. But fortunately, MeUndies has my back. Side. Get it? Backside? For real, I am a legit daily driver of MeUndies. They're all I wear, and for good reason. The fabric is really just superior to anything else I've ever worn in the past. And if you need something even more breathable and summer-proof, check out the Move Me line with the Breathe fabric, perfect for working out or just keeping you extra cool on those sweltering days. Summer is here, y'all. Be prepared with MeUndies and get 20% off your first order plus free shipping at MeUndies.com/super. That's MeUndies.com/super for 20% off plus free shipping. MeUndies, comfort from the outside in. But while no one really properly compares to the evils that Voldemort has committed, we have other examples of rather nefarious people within the wizarding world who are still only ever imprisoned for their crimes. Bellatrix and Rodolphus Lestrange, for example, are simply locked away, as is Sirius, who, to be fair, is completely innocent, but at minimum was believed to have blown up a city block, killing 12 muggles and Peter Pettigrew in the process. So, probably imprisoned, but even that seems a bit tricky. Even a wandless Voldemort is so powerful and so persuasive, I think they'd have a hard time truly securing him. But what about the Dementors, you say? Wouldn't they drain him of his powers? Well, I'd love to say yes, but there are actually two problems there. First is that at the moment of his defeat, the Dementors are actually under Voldemort's control, or at least serving in his army. I don't exactly think they're about to come help him or anything, but I also don't think any rational person would lock someone up and guard them with their own followers. He could still definitely promise them more range for their powers than the Ministry is likely to going forward. But it doesn't matter, because problem number 2 is that even if Dementors would work, the new leadership at the Ministry under Kingsley swiftly replaces the Dementors as guards at Azkaban with Aurors. That said, even that seems kind of risky to me, as Voldemort is rather persuasive, and I'd constantly be nervous he would just lure over just a single guard to help him out given enough time. Plus, and I think that this would actually be the greater problem, is that if Voldemort is alive at all, it seems like that keeps the hope alive in the eyes of the Death Eaters. I mean, after all, he's already come back once, and that was from near death. This time he's still alive and well, just wandless and alone and locked away.
My wand, Wormtail.
Prison Break would certainly be the name of the game at that point, because really the threat still looms large. He needs to kill one person, make one more Horcrux, and hide it away way better this time, and boom, he's right back in business. So what is the wizarding world to do if they are unwilling to kill him? Well, despite the argument we just gave against them, I think they would still settle on the Dementor's kiss, a fate arguably worse than death. And I know we just said the Dementors are unlikely to be good guards for Voldemort, as he can promise them so much more, but a single Dementor I think would be more than willing to give him a big old kiss on the snake lips, which is just the worst sentence that I've ever said. Now I'm imagining it. This is the punishment they intend to dole out to Sirius after his escape from Azkaban anyway, and even though it's against Dumbledore's own wishes, it's also the punishment they implement on Barty Crouch Jr. after his role in resurrecting Voldemort in the first place. Actually, on that note, it's for breaking out of prison because they don't actually believe that Voldemort is back yet.
He's not back.
But you know what I mean. The real issue is that the rock and hard place the new wizarding government would be stuck between is two key goals. 1, not to kill, and 2, not to allow Voldemort to find a way to seize power once again. So Dementor's kiss it is. What could go wrong? I can actually think of a few things. Problem number 1. Voldemort's soul seems to be unique. Sure, it's extremely and extraordinarily badly maimed from the terrors Voldemort has put it through. In King's Cross Station, that weird baby thing that we see, that's what's left of his soul, versus Harry and Dumbledore's, which are still full and complete. However, it's best to never underestimate Voldemort and whatever sheer power and strength of will he seems to possess. So, while it's completely unprecedented, imagine a world where Voldemort's soul is taken into the Dementor's body and then somehow wins. Like, the soul takes control of the Dementor and uses it to immediately repossess his body. Dementorvort, if you will. Sorry, Dementorvol. Voldementor! That's better. Then you have what is effectively a Dementor, capable of destroying all feelings of happiness, and able to consume souls, powered by Lord Voldemort. With this in place, it almost seems like Voldemort can repower his own mutilated soul by consuming those of others, and his power to create Horcruxes is unlimited. I call him Infinity Voldemort. Turns out, I've got a lot of names for this guy. Point is, your move, Potter! But more importantly, the world is doomed. Darn it! But hey, that's only possible outcome number 1, and not how we know Dementor's kisses to actually work, so nothing to worry about. Probably. More likely the kiss just works. Voldemort's soul is destroyed and he's just the husk of a man. Far less dangerous, right? Right? Well, you never can be too sure, can you? Because the new argument may go as follows. By the time Voldemort is attacking at Hogwarts, many of his Horcruxes have been destroyed, and his soul is already in a state of sheer disrepair, and yet he is still pretty darn powerful. So what you may stumble into is the question of where Voldemort's power truly lies, because it seems like regardless of the current health of his soul, he remains quite deadly. So now you have a Voldemort husk just kind of doing whatever Voldemort husks may do. Personally, I suspect he likes staring at pinwheels. But to be fair, who doesn't? The concern, though, would be the reality that no matter how safe Harry and company may have made the wizarding world, the day may once again arise when somebody sees the potential benefit of the power that would reside within Voldemort's husk. And if that husk was then used as a Horcrux for someone else, it may be a little bit like putting the batteries back in, and Voldemort's power could once again be reanimated back into action. And this one we actually have a decent bit of basis for, since it's actually what happens inside of Harry when Voldemort's soul latches onto his own. Harry gains some of the abilities of Lord Voldemort, like his ability to speak Parseltongue. The hindrance in that particular case is that Harry's own soul is pure and whole, and Voldemort's could never overtake that. But if Voldemort's body is otherwise completely empty, whatever new piece of soul within could or would have full charge over it, and I suspect terror would reign once again. So no matter how weakened Voldemort is, by the time his and Harry's final showdown takes place, I can't help but think that any scenario where he isn't destroyed in the process, Voldemort is just simply destined to return somewhere down the line, even more powerful than ever before. Speaking of bad news for Harry, Voldemort surviving could also continue to plague him, even assuming he's safely locked away. Because as the prophecy states, neither can live while the other survives, and in this case, Voldemort survives, so can Harry ever truly live? Well, I'd argue that if Voldemort had suffered the Dementor's kiss, he would not have survived. His body might have, but his sense of self, his essence, the idea of Voldemort did not. And thus, yes, Harry could still go on and live. But that being said, he should also probably be the one to order the Dementor to do the kiss, because one must die at the hands of the other and all that stuff, and we don't want to take any chances. But guys, all of that leads me to my question of the day. Where would you land on a sequel series to the Harry Potter saga where we get to see Harry, Ron, and Hermione as fully trained grown wizards facing off with Voldemort once again? Let me know in the towel section down below. But guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you'd like some other thoughts from us on what we would like to see in a future Harry Potter series, you can check out this video right over here. But otherwise, until next time, bye!